Tojo. So this is the second session. So let me have a look here. So this is, I see your answer is not bad at all. Your answer is the logic sense of it is correct, except that, like I told you earlier, you don't really need to put brackets. It doesn't harm. It's acceptable. You will never lose mark for that kind of thing. But if you are planning to become a programmer, this is not needed. It doesn't add anything that you add a bracket. By time you will learn to not to use that kind of brackets unless you have other you are adding something to the string and then you want to separate them before you put another statement here. So that's a different story. But if it is only alone like that, you don't need the brackets. But if you put it, there is no harm. The code will run. There is no issue. But I would say again, the output of a length function is to count something, a string, and return back an integer. So if length is returning an integer, it doesn't make any sense to convert it back to integer, because the length get me an integer by counting something. So always it will return an integer. So no need to do that here. Okay. Other than that, your answer is perfect in the Python. So it means always your Python level is much higher. But again, if we look here, this is the same happening here. Okay. And there is no len in pseudocode. Pseudocode have lengths. This is a length function. Okay. Okay. And yes, so I think other than that, and also you don't need to put the length like I tell you. And again, the small touches here and there. So the function here does not have end function. You should always end your. So I would say in your case, Tojo, I would say if you construct a function, start by writing function header and then go directly immediately put your end of it. If you are doing an if statement, before you putting anything here, make if else and write the end if directly. So you do it one shot so that you don't end up forgetting that. This is it could be a possibility that you really forget it. So to avoid this kind of small touches here, I would say write the function header and then go directly end it. Okay. And the same goes with while and end while, and so with everything. Okay, and then we move here. Let me see. Tojo, just as you know, this is the answer from that you sent to me one day ago. So it means that this is things that is still with you, right?
Yes.
Okay, so the exam is coming, so you need to pay some attention. Okay. Okay. Let's have a look first at the pseudocode, because the condition of the pseudocode, yeah, needs some improving in general. But so, okay, let me see here. So we don't have a random.rand int in pseudocode. Pseudocode only have random. Just use the function random only. Okay, and I think I already put it for you here. So this is how it looks like to use random. So random gets you out. It doesn't work like the Python one. The Python one, you can pass it a start and end, and it will get you something from out of it. From this is the start, and this is the end. This is what you get from the Python. But here, no. The random here gets you values between 0 and 1, and then you have to construct it in a way that can provide the output that you want. So here, you get a round, and then he multiplies the random output of the random by 6. So it will get you a whole number between 0 to 6. Does this make sense to you?
Okay. Yes.
Okay, good. So I think that's basically what we should be looking here in pseudocode. I think there is something also I still need to tell you about pseudocode. So let me see. This is okay. This part is okay, and also the second part is also okay. The only thing is, if you are I think I have seen that misunderstanding with you earlier, and I think it's still there. You sometimes mix or maybe not know the perfect case when to use if only and when you use elif, because here we have a certain requirement that we need to check or count the numbers that is bigger than 400, and you are looping through the array. So if you check if the number is actually bigger than 400, then it will never come to execute that line, these two lines. This will be not executed at all. It will never come here. So this part, forget about it. It will never come here. So it, as long as it's bigger than 400, then it will count. So I mean, of course, there is certain condition that if he this is what he requests, okay, that's fine. If he tell you, okay, count count the even numbers that is below 400, yes, you can do whatever you want like that. But in this case, he just telling you count even numbers in the whole list, and certain part of the whole list will be bigger than 400 and certain part will be less than 400. So it means that you need to put that in a separate if statement, because else if means that if this does not evaluate to true, then come to here and check it. So this is not the case here. So he wants to count bigger than 400. So we will execute that. And then he want to check if the number is even, and then he want to count it. Also, that's a different story. So should put it in a separate if. And then also here, the same applies here. He is asking you to remove everything that is bigger than 300. But I mean, this does not make sense to put it in else if, because it will, with this condition, I mean, there is a big high chance that only little numbers that will even come here. Okay, certain things will be executed here and it will never come down. This is the numbers that is bigger than 400, and maybe certain numbers that will be even, it will come here, and then only odd numbers will reach you here. So that is so it means that you never execute this condition to the full. So it have to be in a separate if statement. And I am telling you, this is not in the syllabus, but for your own understanding, if you want to remove out something out of an array or a list, better do it in a separate for loop, because removing something out of the list will rearrange the list again, will make the list not really well arranged. So we prefer that you take this in a separate for loop. The whole thing here with the if statement, put it in a separate for loop. Does this make sense to you, Tuju?
Yes, it does.
Okay, perfect. Let me see here what I want to tell you also. Yeah. So Tuju, I'm pronouncing your name correct. Is it Tego or Tuju?
Yes, it's here.
So it's both correct. Okay. Okay. So it's a certain part in the pseudocode you didn't do. But I believe that there is many examples in the syllabus that talk about that, right? About getting a minimum out of a list and getting a maximum out of the list. So here you just use in the Python, you just use minimum and maximum, and that's it. That's perfect, right? But as you know, we have to go the hard way if we want to do it, because we don't have ready function to get us the minimum and maximum in pseudocode, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So do you still remember something like that we have taken earlier? Tojo?
No.
You cannot remember? Okay, so never mind. So I would say, like you will ever do. So if you want to start, I think also there's many exam questions about that. So a minimum. So after you declare the minimum and maximum, you do it just normal declaration as an integers. We will always put, sorry here. So we will always put the minimum as, what do you think? What should we put the minimum and maximum? I have seen some solutions that you created. So okay, they write in the syllabus that the most ideal solution would be to assign here the minimum and maximum like that. Okay. Have you seen? Do you still remember something like that before? That we put.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, and also another possibility that I have seen also you do it. So we could also put the minimum and maximum. So you put the minimum as the highest number. So if we expect that the highest number here is a 500, for example, so we put the minimum 500 and 500. We put it 500, or even 501, and we put the maximum as 0. So that is also another possibility. Okay, and remember, in the syllabus there is certain part that is talking about refining and improving the algorithms. So if you want to test that you can refine an algorithm, it also means that he will consider the less number of lines as a perfect, because that is a good algorithm means he is able to achieve the purpose or the target in a less amount of lines. More amount of lines in the real life means more computing power. If you are a person who write a code that should be done in the ideal way, 100 or 150 lines, you make it in maybe 600 lines or 700 lines. That is not acceptable. No company will accept that. So
Okay.
you will learn in next stages that fine-tuning an algorithm to solve a problem is important, and that improve your understanding of it. Okay, so they call this as a perfect or refinement of the algorithm. This is in the syllabus. Okay, but this was also acceptable. Okay, so did I make myself clear here? Okay, so do you understand now why I put here 1 instead of 0? You understand, right?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so now we Tojo, do you still remember that in the exam questions that you have, there is many scenario questions that talk about 2D arrays, right?
Yes, there are. Yes.
Okay, so when you write or solve an exam, do you check the answers?
Yes, I do.
Okay, and do you find an answer in Python, or you find always the answers in pseudocode?
They usually are both.
You usually in pseudocode, right?
In both, I think.
In both. Oh, really? That's interesting. I most of the exam questions that I have seen, they always answer the scenario questions in pseudocode. rarely I have seen, maybe I would say in maybe, yeah, I see maybe not even once I have seen it in Python, but I will confirm that. But 95% of the time I see it in pseudocode. It doesn't mean that they don't want you to answer in Python, but I don't know what is the reason that they don't put it. But again, they give you the options. But again, if you answer it in pseudocode, it means that there is more lines to write, and there is no more ready functions that you can use. So he always, in the scenario question, most of the time, or many of the recent exam questions that you will see in the this year 2023 and 2022, they are talking about getting an average and sum of the values. And of course, if you want to achieve that, it means another, and also they ask about the minimum and the maximum. So it means that if you would like to do that in a pseudocode, it means that at least we are talking about for every one of those minimum maximum 3 lines or 4 lines extra that you have to write in pseudocode if you do it in pseudocode, not in Python. Do you understand what I'm trying to tell you?
Yes.
Okay, so it means that answering in Python will save you time, and also it's much faster. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So I expected here when I tell you this to create this. Actually, I wanted to simulate some of the exam questions, just because they use a similar concept of that. So this is 1D array, and this is another 1D array. And normally they will bring 2D arrays, and they will tell you, oh, these 2D arrays, you need to follow the same index in the 2D array belong to the same index in the 1D array. So the information here, so what I want to say is that, okay, instead of you constructing, so this is your answer, right? You constructed this manually, and okay, it's possible that you do it manually because you know it here, but I give you the data here. But again, in the exam, sometimes he doesn't give you the data, so you're not able to use this way to construct. So you should be able to do it dynamically. So I would say if I have a two arrays like that, and I would like to make them in one 2D array, so I will loop through this. And so I will declare an empty array, an empty 2D array, and then I will even, I don't mind that I put this as even a string, okay, and then I later can convert it to integer if I want to do any arithmetic operation on it. So I would say I will make a loop, a for loop, okay, and using the for loop, I'm able to get one index from me, and pass it to one row. So it will be like this. So for every row, for every index that I pass here in the for loop, I'm able to insert something here in the first column, and here in the second column. I think that is somehow easy, not so difficult to do that. Okay. So do you get what I'm trying to tell you? Tigo.
Yes, I do.
Okay. Okay. Let me go through here your answer again. Let me see if I do some remarks. Okay. Yeah. So Tigo, I want to try to copy that code. So first, I want you to look here. You are trying to get the marks. No, let me go through the requirement. So he said use the 2D array to get the average student marks. Okay, and then he said use the 2D array to get student name with the lowest student mark, and also get the student name with the highest student mark. So I don't know. So I would like to ask you, this is an array of how many columns, how many rows?
4 columns and 2 rows.
No, I would like you to raise your voice so I can hear you well.
4 columns and 2 rows.
2 rows, okay. If you would like to go through an average, okay, this first for loop will make you loop through what? The row or the column?
So that I can get the columns.
No, this is the rows.
Sorry.
Rows.
Yes,
rows.
the rows.
So okay, anything that you put here, the first is a row. So always here row. This is for the 2D array, and the column. Okay, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you want to put the for loop for the column first or the row first. It doesn't matter. But stick to one so that you don't confuse yourself in the exam. I want you to use your permanent memory links and skills in an automatic matter way in the exam. So if you always do it the rows loop first, always make it like that so that you don't have to think about it in an exam. You just put it as it is. Okay, and that's what I advise you with. So here, okay, so we say 0 and 1. This is the columns, and then we say 0 to 4. Okay, so this is the rows, this is the columns, and we know here is a name, but here is a mark. The mark is always a number. So if you want to get an average, you cannot loop through the strings. This is all this.
Yes, I should have done
strings.
0, I think, before. I forgot that.
So the y here should not be in the. I mean, yes, you can make the loop like that. It's fine, but that's if you want to do something else. So the y should be only 1. So it means that he will loop. I mean, if you take this one out, you don't need even to put this this while loop, because why? You only need to vary the x. The x is for the rows. Okay. So you want to vary the x, which is the column, the row. So it will change from 0 to until 4. But here, I never want to see anything from that name. I cannot do any arithmetic operation. So I always like to put y as a 1. I don't even need to put y. I just put 1. Okay. Does this make sense to you?
Yes.
Okay. If you want to, so now in the exam, sometimes most of the time he will tell you the size of the array. But even if you don't, then you're able to, I think it's not difficult to get it. I think we talked about it before. So if you say, just as a fast reminder, so the length of, to get the length of a 2D array, you can just use student marks like that. Okay, but if you want to get the column, then you will have to put like that. Does this make sense to you?
Yes.
This is extra. You want to use it, is up to you. You just want to key in, and the count is up to you. So again, if you get the total and you want to get the average, you need a count, right? You need to know how many numbers you need to divide the total with, right? So if you have here 4 values, you need to divide it by 4. It's up to you. You want to use dynamic way by calculating the number of columns or number of rows. So by getting the number of rows here, you are able to divide it by the total and then to get it will get you the average. So total divided by length of student marks, then it should get you the average that you are seeking. Is it fine like that? Okay, perfect. The problem now is, let's have a look at. So by telling you this, tell me now how we can improve. Let me see, how can we improve that code? This code actually will work or not, in your opinion?
Well, it won't work because y needs to be 1. But
okay, so that is the first thing. So but that's not the only way to, I mean, okay, so it will get you first, if I was you, so this is the lowest, right? You write 1,000, right? But you know,
yes.
we already know that the mark is the maximum number of mark maybe is from 100. So I will put 100. Putting 1,000, there is no worries. Okay, you are still in the safe zone. There is nothing wrong here. But the point here, yes, this is okay. This is fine. But this is not the solution. This will not get you the solution. This will get you the lowest mark, but it will not get you the name of the student who have the lowest mark. See, the request is somehow tricky. See, I would like to get the student name with the lowest student mark. You have done the first part. The first part is to get the lowest mark and the highest mark. Fine. But where is the student name?
Okay, so then that could just be at the end you would just print the student's mark.
How to get
you could have a variable of the name, maybe.
Yes, but the problem is not the variable in the name. You need a way. You need a way. So let's assume. Let me have a look first. This is the lowest mark, right?
Yes.
Okay. Where is the highest mark? This is the highest mark. So we need a way that I can provide this mark and it get me Tim. And I need a way to provide this mark and it get me Chi. So that actually cannot be done here, and even not inside the for loop at all. Okay, so the fastest way that I would think about it, the fastest way is that you have to make another for loop, okay, that loops also only through the rows, and the y or the column will be always 1 because let me think. No, in this case we need to make this kind of loop. Yes, we have to make this kind of loop. It means that we need to loop through the y and the x. No, even we can make only 1. So I would say, let me try to write the code here. So I would say for x in range, I would say like 0 to 4. So okay, so I will assume that I already finish this for loop, and then I will make another for loop just to get the name. So name, of course, declaration and all these kind of things. Name lowest. So I would say first, if I need to make an if statement. So what should I put in this if statement? Now you have the lowest number. You want to get the lowest, the name of the one who, the person who got the lowest mark. Okay, so how? I need to use the lowest.
His student marks x1 is equal to lowest.
Oh, Tojo, we have to close. Sorry.